It is crunch time in fantasy football, and here are the guys you need to be sitting this week. Before I get into it, please go ahead and drop a follow. I would greatly appreciate it, but the first guy on this list you gotta sit is all of the Rams running backs. The entire team is banged up, and the offense just looks terrible. You also cannot look over the fact that they have a bottom 10 offensive line this season. If you're in a deeper league, you might be inclined to grab one of these running backs, but just don't do it. There are so many better flex options that have a higher floor and a higher ceiling out there, so you're better off ignoring the entire offense as a whole. The next guy you can't start this week is Latavius Murray. I know a lot of people are inclined to start him because he's the only running back on the Denver Broncos right now, but do not let that fool you. The Broncos have the lowest team total for the week. I can't even remember the last time they put over 16 points on somebody. Scoring will be scarce. I could see him falling into the end zone as one of those fluke things that happen, but I would rather not bet on that and have him take up a flex spot. There are better options out there. Another guy we have to be looking at with caution is Chase Claypool. He does not have a great matchup against Jaire Alexander in the first place, not to mention how outright bad the Bears offense is. And I know some people like to think that Darnell Mooney missing time is going to open up opportunities for other people in the offense, but there is just simply not enough volume to go around. If I'm not mistaken, he's only had one game above 200 passing yards, and he averages about 13 to 14 completions a game. Another guy you gotta sit, a pretty hot flex option recently, Paris Campbell. Last week we saw him come back down to earth a little bit. We knew this was gonna happen. 3 targets, 2 catches. Kind of just shows that Paris Campbell is not the locked and loaded wide receiver 2 or 3 that you could have on your team. His over-under line over on Prize Picks and Underdog is set at 38.5 yards, and that might seem a bit low for him, but he's very unreliable. You gotta understand that Vegas is the beacon of knowledge, and they know more than all of us combined. The Colts are also set as the second worst offense, only in front of the Denver Broncos, which isn't really saying much. Overall, it's just not a great matchup. I think you're better off just moving on from him this week. But that brings us to our next sit option. The entire Ravens backfield has to be sat this week. The entire backfield is touchdown dependent. I wouldn't really consider starting any of them unless you're in a non-PPR league, but even then there's better options. Gus Edwards is the lead back in this offense. Again, I could see him falling into the end zone, but I would rather not bet on that to happen. Their offensive line is also dealing with a lot of injuries, another reason just to stay away. Another guy you gotta sit though, Michael Gallup. Usually he's a fringe start every week, but this matchup just is not it for him. The Colts allow the fewest fantasy points to opposing wide receivers, and the Cowboys are favored. I believe they will want to run their brand of football. They're going to try to utilize the running backs a lot. They're going to stick to the ground game. Just stay away from Michael Gallup this week. But that is going to be it from me today. If you have any start sit questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I will 100% answer all of them before Sunday. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video.